Okay, so we want to do an analysis of these 5 parks. These are 5 city parks, and in this area, this column, we have the number of people observed, the number of direct contact with nature, and the number of no contact. So like in the first park, there were 6 people total observed. 3 of them had some sort of contact with nature, however that's defined, and 3 did not. And the question is, are these significantly different? Like, is the level of contact of nature with nature significantly different for these 5 parks? So this is a perfect example of a chi-square analysis, and we're going to go to Statskingdom, scroll down to not the chi-square test for variance, but the chi-square test for goodness of fit, and it has these options below it. So when you go in here, there's options for the specific type of chi-square test, and we're going to go with independence association because we want to know if each of these parks is statistically independent of each other in terms of how people are connecting with nature. So we're going to choose that. We have our significance level. We don't need to change anything else here. And when we come down here, it says enter your sample data. And there's 2 categories, 2 rows, and 2 columns. So in this case, we have our first category is going to be contact with nature. So we'll just type that in. And you can change this to whatever you think it would be for your analysis, but no contact. And then we have the first park, which is Furbach. And there were, again, 3 that had contact and 3 individuals that did not have contact. So 3 and 3. And we'll do this for Mount Airy. And it would be 3 and 2 people. So these are just the counts of people, the frequencies. Now, if you clicked calculate now, you would be looking at the statistical difference between the frequencies of people that connect with nature in just these 2 parks. But in this case, the hypothesis was to look at all 5 parks and see if there's a difference there. So we're going to insert more columns. We have a total of 5. So we have Alt, and I think this one was Winton Woods, and this one is Eden Park. So we've got 6 and 14 for Alt, and 15 and 13 for Winton. And Eden Park, interesting, 42 and 0. Now, before we even run this test, I just want to acknowledge, just looking at the data, you can see that Eden Park is likely, could be viewed as a very strong impact on this data because everyone was connecting with nature. So as the experimenter, you would want to think, why is that? What was it that I saw there happening in that park? Whereas the others are, at least Furbach, Mount Airy, and Winton Woods, are close to about 50-50, and Alt is a little bit less. But given the divergences here, with Eden Park being so different, it will likely be significant that there's a significant difference in the frequencies among these 5 parks. So let's click Calculate, and you'll see all the calculations of how the chi-squares run in terms of the math behind it. And so that can be useful if you're just trying to understand all of that. But you really want to just scroll down here. The p-value is 1.847 e to the negative 7. That just means you move the decimal point over 7 times. So it is less than 0.001, certainly. And you would reject your null hypothesis and conclude that there is a significant difference in the frequency of nature interactions among these 5 parks. Now, it doesn't tell you which parks have the highest or lowest, you would just calculate the percentages for each park and then report that in your data. And there's a few more things down here. And it even gives you the R code if you want to run this in R. But that's really it for chi-square. And in terms of the categories, again, you can add more if some of you have 3 things you're comparing or 3 groups or however many, you can alter this and change this contingency data for your sample, for the data that you have.